Yes, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The sun is shining, it's extremely warm. I'm actually in an art gallery because it's cooler in here, and the guys downstairs are so busy on the phone. So I do apologise if I've got some animals in the background, but I'm in the Paul James Gallery, and I have to say it's an amazing place. Jamie is also at home with his air conditioning because it's too busy in the office and will get interrupted. And we've got Simon in the room from Homesearch, who is also working from home in an air conditioned space, so that we're able to have a little bit of a chat. So let me just quickly introduce Simon. There is a reason why we're having this little chat over the lunchtime break, and it's because Jamie, myself, and all of our associates at Campbell's are having multiple conversations with sellers who just don't know what to do. So, and that is because the property market has gone mad, and it is very strange times. So we have multiple sellers, and when I say multiple, I mean multiple sellers that genuinely sit there and say things like, for example, we can't find anything, so what is the point? We want to see what is going to happen next. It's something someone said to me yesterday. We just don't know what to do about our asking price because we're getting mixed messages from estate agents that we've invited out to do a valuation. I will introduce you to Simon in a minute and explain. Those of you that are on our regular Property Matters Zoom calls that we share on Facebook will know Jamie very well. Jamie, you're in and out of sellers' homes even more than I am. So are there any other things that you would add to what I've just said about why somebody wouldn't want to place their property on the market right now?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point because I've done 6 valuations so far this week, because I'm quite picky with who I go out to see. And I would say 5 of those people aren't ready to move yet. Only one of them we've actually instructed, and they're actually going to come on the market. And you're quite right. The biggest one for me is definitely we can find places is a good one. So there's some clients that do know where they want to go, and there are properties out there, but there's too much competition. Because I think as estate agents in the last sort of 6 months, we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot in a way, because we've kind of done our job too well by advertising the fact that we've got multiple viewings and multiple offers on properties, which as such has actually put off a lot of sellers from wanting to move because they're scared about going to a viewing and standing up to the agent and putting their offer forward and things like that. So we've got 2 problems here. We've got the people that don't want to move yet because they can't find anything, and you've got the people that do want to move and have found something but keep missing out on the offers because they don't know what they're doing or they're too scared. So I think you can split that into 2 really, but definitely 5 out of the 6 valuations I've done this week, they're not ready to go yet because they're too scared because they won't find anywhere.
Yeah. And this is where the expertise of your local estate agent comes into play. So, Simon, everybody, is from Homesearch. I'll let him explain what Homesearch is all about. But Simon also is a genius because he's worked in the estate agency practice for years and years and years and knows exactly what Jamie and I are discussing. Simon, I'll leave it to you. Could you just explain Homesearch, please? Ladies and gentlemen, please have your pens and paper ready because this website is something you need to visit. Simon.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Paul. That's a great intro, but I have to live up to now, so no pressure to me. But yeah, so Homesearch essentially helps estate agents and the public to kind of open up the market and connect buyers and sellers through local experienced estate agents. So it's not just looking at what's on the market at the moment, it's looking at what's most likely to next come to market, because as Jamie rightfully points out, there is lots of people out there who are really, really scared of coming to market because they think, well, hang on a minute, I'm getting all this messaging of houses are selling like hotcakes. I'm going to sell my house really quickly, and then I'm also going to be competing on all this shortage of stock, and I don't want to get in bidding wars you'll hear a lot of. And I think when I was an agent, if I had £1 for every time someone said to me, I'm not coming on yet because I can't find, I'd be a very rich man. So what we try and do is identify those properties that are not yet on the portals, that are potentially the next ones to come to market. There's a great saying out there: every home is on the market. It's just the more motivated ones that put for sale signs up in the garden. So that's kind of how we help.
Brilliant. So I think possibly, Jamie, I don't know. I had an open house yesterday in Knoll, just outside Solihull, and I had 30 viewings, and I was in a position where I could speak to first-time buyers, to the man down the road that wants to move around the corner, multiply different people. So, and it was very clear to me that the buyers that are out there at the moment, and there are hundreds and thousands of them, and I think Simon possibly will be able to give us some idea about how many there are in your particular street. I think Simon's going to give us a demonstration. Is that right, Simon, on exactly how many buyers there are sitting out there?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you'll see in a minute. This is unbelievable. But I saw it for myself yesterday in Knoll. And without a question, the biggest worry is being in a position to proceed, having got a property, and the anxiety that I saw yesterday was amazing. So I was the teacher, they were the student yesterday, and I must have taught at least 10, 15 people how to move forward in the next 6 months. So this is crucial. So if one of your issues is finding a property, then I think what Simon needs to do now is to give a demonstration about how our associates at Campbell's use this software. And by the way, there are multiple estate agents all over this country that use Homesearch. So please, if you are in this position for what you're about to learn, go to your local estate agents and do ask them, do they have the same facilities available to them at Homesearch? Because I think you're going to need it. Simon, could you give us a demonstration on how we as estate agents would look into an area where a seller wants to buy? We're going to use an area outside Daventry for obvious reasons, but it also, and I have no idea where you're going to go, but Simon, could you give us a demonstration?
Perfect, absolutely. So I've decided to choose an area that I live in, and the reason I'm doing that is it's where I used to be an estate agent, and I'm just going through remortgaging my property. So I've been keeping my finger on the pulse of what's been going on to make sure I'm getting the right, loan to value, interest rates, etc., etc. So even though I'm not actively looking to move, it's still something of interest to me. Now, maybe if the figures had been slightly different, maybe I would have moved. So again, it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago of every home is on the market. People are always tempted to move. I'm not in my dream home. If you came along to me and said, Simon, I could get you this for your house, and you could go buy something with an extra bedroom and an ensuite at this price, if it's affordable, I'd do it yesterday. And that's where Homesearch can help as well on that point. So using MK16 as an example, so Newport Pagnell, where I am, before I share my screen and show some of the technology that agents up and down the country are using on behalf of buyers and sellers, there's 8,500 properties in MK16 where I am. And now, just to use that as an example, it will vary up and down the country, but out of 8,500 properties, only 0.64% of properties are currently for sale. 0.64. 99.5% of properties in MK16 are not actively on the market at the moment. But for every property currently for sale in MK16, there is 822 buyers registered. 822 for every property. So it goes to show there are so many people out there wanting to move, but they go look at the portal, let's say, and they go, oh my God, there's nothing to buy. I'm going to sit tight. Or like Jamie said earlier, they go, oh my God, there's so much competition. I'm nervous. So speaking to your local agents who've got their fingers on the pulse, know their marketplace inside out, they can proactively use good old fashioned classical estate agency, match buyers and sellers. And that's what the really, really good estate agents do. So to show you that technology actually in action, I'm just going to share my screen quickly. And can I just get a yes from Jamie or Paul that you can see that? Okay.
All good, mate.
Fantastic. Good stuff. So what I've done for the purposes of this, I've looked at bungalows in MK16, and I've ticked a little button which allows me to look at properties on the market. Now, the green pins on the screen are for sale and the orange pins are sold. So you can clearly see there that there's a hell of a lot more sold than there is for sale. Now,
So
in MK16,
you just zoom in a bit more, mate. Sorry, because it's got automated subtitles at the bottom of the screen.
Can
so
you see that? Okay.
If you move it up a little bit, if that's all right. Sorry, the other way. Drag it down. That's it.
Yeah, is that okay?
Let's do, yeah, perfect, thank you.
Perfect. So I'm glad you've actually told me to do that, because that looks even better now. So we've got what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's probably what, 15 properties showing as sold, 3 is for sale. So it goes to show what we've just been talking about in the past 10 minutes, that lots of things are selling in MK16. 75% roughly, so 3/4 of properties are showing as sold. So again, it's all about trying to go and find those properties that are not yet on the market. So there's only 19 bungalows there. But what I'm going to do now with this technology is I'm going to look at the bungalows that are not yet on the market. And there they all are. There's 380 of them. If I zoom in again, is that okay, Jamie?
Yep, perfect.
So all these properties on the screen, these black pins, they're not actively on the market with an estate agent. But on average, about 3% of people move every year. So out of those 380 bungalows, there's probably a dozen of those that will move this year. And there's probably quite a few more who want to move. Problem is, they perhaps can't find what they're looking for. And it's a job of experienced agents up and down the country to match these buyers and sellers through good old-fashioned relationship building, and then using innovative technology as well. So yeah, that's a bit of showing you how many properties there potentially are out there that are just waiting to come to the market, but they can't find anything.
Well, I can share a good story there with that one, because I've actually used that last week. I had a client in a village locally around Daventry, and the first thing they said to me when I went out for the valuation was, we're really scared about selling because we don't know where we're going to go. And they are very specifically looking for a bungalow due to their own personal circumstances. It was absolutely fundamental that they found that perfect bungalow, because I think, you know, when you're searching for that right house, it's never just about finding a bungalow. You know, there's lots of bungalows around Daventry in the villages, but half of them are up a hill. So it kind of defeats the objective of having a bungalow. So what these guys were looking for was a bungalow that was accessible for the chap that was living in the house. And they were really worried about it. And I said, right, well, let's get this first bit out of the way first. So we sold the house, found them a buyer, and most importantly, we found them a buyer who was prepared to wait. So they had no chain. I was very straight with them during the offer process and said, you know, just to be clear, you guys are prepared to wait for these guys to find, so within reason, obviously. So that was all cool. So they're sitting tight for a minute. The sale is progressing nicely, and they're just waiting for my clients to find somewhere. So, and then coincidentally enough, Simon popped up and said, oh, I've got something for that, which was the tool that he's just shown then. And me and Sean got together in the office and basically they were looking for the NN6 postcode. So we searched the whole NN6 postcode, which is West Haddon, Crick, Long Buckby, all the areas that we operate in anyway. And we did just exactly what Simon did then. And I can't remember exactly how many it was now, but I think it was a good 500. And that was very specifically targeted based on price, size, and things like that. And actually, I got 2 phone calls last week from 2 people that got that letter through their door, and they were interested to have a chat about it. So I'm currently working on it at the moment. I'm not going to say that I've actually managed to magically find them a bungalow, because I haven't yet, but I am working on 2 people at the moment that actually received that letter. And I think the most important thing to take away from that as well, though, is that not only have we got the tools now to be able to push people in the right direction to the bungalow or the house that they want, but I think it's taking away that fear that just because you've sold your house does not mean you need to be bullied into moving really quickly. You know, people automatically assume that, you know, they're going to get a nasty estate agent turn up on their front door, tell them that we've sold their house, and they're going to charge them a fee whether they move or not. I know some do, but most of us don't. And, you know, I think it's about, all I would say to someone who is sitting on the fence at the moment and is genuinely worried about finding somewhere because they know they're going to sell their house quickly is, first of all, the process takes time anyway. So you're never going to, it's not going to happen overnight. Even if you sell your house within a fortnight, which tends to be how quickly we sell our houses, for example, that you're talking at the moment a good 12 weeks before actually you're even ready to move out anyway. And the second thing is, just because you've got a buyer does not mean that you have to move out. We will find you a buyer who is sensible, who's not going to put the pressure on. And as long as you're having that conversation on day 1 and not day 50, and everyone knows the score from day 1, then you've got nothing to worry about. And the general answer to it all is, if you can't find anywhere and it's genuinely stressing you out that much, then just speak to your agent and just say, right, can we just put a pause on this for 1 second? We're not going to get angry about it. You know, at the end of the day, whenever we take on a client, it's a client for life, you know, or that's what I like to call it anyway. And I've got clients that have come back to me many times over the last 5 or 6 years, and we want to keep that relationship. So the last thing we want to do is upset you, and we don't want to fall out with you. So my view on it all is let us do our bit to try and help you. Use the tools that Simon's providing for us, and just don't worry about it. Because the worst that comes to the worst, the only person that's going to have lost out is going to be the agent, because they're the ones that have tried to do it. They're not going to be angry about it.
Yeah. Funny enough, the book I wrote back in, you guys, Simon, 2009. This was when the market absolutely crashed through the floor, and we were in the opposite situation. And I published a book. I can't even remember what it was called now. It was called "Sold: How to Guarantee to Sell Your Property" or something.
It'd be really nice if I had a copy here, wouldn't it, Paul?
Whoa! No, come on.
Like that was planned.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't know he got that. Simon, where did you get that?
Well, it's like an Amazon bestseller, isn't it?
Oh, no, I know it's on Amazon. Yeah, blimey. Anyway, wow, that's took the wind out of me. So I was like, we didn't know you got that. Right, in there is also a paragraph. Now, remember, in those days, at 2009, we didn't have anywhere near the technology that we've got now. So going back to the good old days, and I was even talking to someone yesterday about using a ruler 30 years ago. Then we had no choice but to knock on doors, put leaflets through people's doors, and genuinely socially get the notes around. Now we have social media, and again, Jamie used social media a couple of weeks ago with his bungalow story, and blow me, we had people coming in via Facebook to say, well, look, we're not ready now, and there was an example of that's, again, something that Jamie's used to doing. But back in the day, that is what we had to do. And I think there's a paragraph in there where I talk about the universe. And I know people think I'm a little bit mad, but I am very much a believer that if you want to do something, then you need to be visualizing it. So when I go out and talking to my customers, I make this very, very clear. We're about to go on a journey, and you need to tell me what your balcony vision is. In other words, if you were looking out across a balcony, like we've done over the years, and you can see the sea and all the rest of it, I want you to look to the horizon and tell me what you see. Now, with that information, I would then help them to go and find that, but they have to stay motivated. I've even gone as far, as sadly as I can admit, is where I've built a little dream board that goes on the kitchen side, and that is what they're aiming for. I promise you, if you're thinking of selling your property, then don't wait. Please do not swim in the pool of sameness, as I said to a client the other day. In other words, don't do what everybody else is doing. Get out of that pool and go into another pool that basically says, do you know what? I'm going to own this and I'm going to do it. All the associates that I also work with all think along these same lines. There are multiple estate agents across this country that you've just got to go and find them.
I use that same line every time I go out on an appointment as well when I'm speaking to clients, and you can almost put a guarantee stamp on it that is exactly how it goes. I think out of I don't know how many I've done personally in the last 12 months, but it's probably about 50. I'd say 2 out of those 50 didn't move for whatever reason. And everybody else, and none of those people knew where they were going, by the way, when they put their house on the market. Nobody knew what they were doing. But I'd say bar 1 or 2, everybody found somewhere in the end and they moved. And again, talking about the universe again, you've got to put yourself in that mindset and you've got to be ready to go. Not only is nobody going to take you seriously when you go and view a house anyway, if you're not sold, but at the same time, mentally, you've got to be ready for it. And if you're not on the market and you haven't sold, then you're not mentally prepared for it. And the universe knows that.
That's right. And here's another thing. So yesterday, I was in Knoll at this house, Simon, and I started at 12 o'clock and I finished at 7:30. We had bookings every 15 minutes, so I met a lot of people.
I know you did, because I wanted to go for a pint.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. I didn't get home I was chatting all the way home in the car safely. No, and what was I going to say? Brain's gone.
You were there all day. Sorry, my fault. You were there all day.
I know I was there all day. Yeah. So, oh yes. So guys, just so that you know, when you're viewing houses, estate agents are genuinely nice people. All I can tell you is 80-20 rule kicks in. 80% of the people that I saw yesterday were beautiful, nice people. Great stories. Honestly, I had a whale of a time just chatting to people. but there were 20% roughly that really were standoffish with me, and I just thought, whoa. So here's one tip: when you meet an estate agent, genuinely speaking, most good estate agents are very nice, family, fun orientated people. We are not horrible monsters, I promise. And what happens is, if you are a nice person, you will gain massive respect from that estate agent, and that estate agent will do anything to help, because we are passionate about what we do. So yesterday, I was even in a situation where I was helping first-time buyers. I helped this one lady who two ladies actually burst into tears. One of them was due to a sad thing, but another one was, this lady was so frustrated because I said to her, I'm not quite sure that sounds quite right to me. And then when she was telling her story, I said, can I just make a suggestion? Anyway, 20 minutes later, I told her how to sell a house properly. She will be going back to her estate agent with some hints and tips on how to do it a little bit more smoothly. The anxiety that was in that property yesterday was through the roof. So please don't get put off by putting your house on the market, but I would go down to your local agents and have a look around. And if they're not talking in the same sort of arena that we're in, then I think I would probably be looking elsewhere.
They're not the agent for you. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
And
Simon,
how many times, Paul and Jamie, have you had it over the years where, again, with the rise in technology, where someone might ring you up, and let's say it's the property where you did 30 viewings back to back, and let's say it sold very quickly and it's showing sold subject to contract, it's a sold board outside, and someone rings up and says, I was away on holiday, I missed out on that. What's the situation? I'm awfully sorry, it's sold. Let me take your details in case anything else similar comes up. And how many times do people say, it's okay, I check the portals?
Every property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the public watching this, I would recommend, when the estate agent says, let me take your details, they're doing it, again, to be nice, and they want to help you. Because if you have a conversation with them, even if I appreciate it's a bit different with COVID, but when people used to come to my office, I remember that person so much more. They'd come in with a sheet of paper saying, this is where I want to live, this is what I want to buy, this is my budget. If Jamie Campbell walked into an office with that, when that house came up matching Jamie, I remember Jamie walking, I remember what he looked like. I remember what shoes he was wearing. Jamie, you said you wanted this house. I've got it for you. Whereas again, if that person then rings up a few weeks later and goes, another one's just come on with you, you're already showing it as sold. Why didn't I know about it? Well, you didn't give me your details, but someone I did know, Paul Campbell, he gave me his details. So anyone watching, do speak to the estate agents, because there's probably going to be, Jamie, if you got chosen today to sell a house, how long on average is it until it actually goes on a portal? Would it be a week?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And in that week, you might be going, do you know what, Simon Gates wants a bungalow in MK16. He's on the books. I'll ring him up and get him to view it. So by the time
we make a point of it, 48 hours. Well, I do on mine anyway. 48 hours before it goes live. That's Sian's job, because that's a bit she's good at. And she will email it out, and then 24 hours later, phone up the people that she's emailed if they haven't responded, and we give everyone that chance first to come in. Yeah, absolutely.
So while you're on that subject, Jamie, just very quickly, and I know some people will be jumping on and off and jumping on and off this live broadcast, so it doesn't matter how long it takes, because I think the content of what we're giving out with these three experts on the screen is brilliant. By the way, if you're thinking of selling a property, obviously drop onto Homesearch. If you know somebody that's thinking of selling anywhere in the UK, just literally just share this link, or put their name in the comments and get it shared around.
We'll drop a link to Homesearch, and once it's, I can't do it now because I'm on here, but once I'm off, I will come back and I'll drop a link on there.
Now, Jamie, just very quickly, I know it's a process that takes, you said 7 days. I wouldn't want to put somebody off. Can you just explain, because we have a procedure that we go through. I don't want you to do the whole thing, because obviously squeeze the week down into 2 minutes.
How long you got?
I think what's really important here, once you've discussed with the customer the marketing method, and I do appreciate at Campbell's we have a slightly different way of doing things, but there will be multiple estate agents around the country that do their own bespoke method. Once you've got that agreement and your client knows exactly what you're going to do, before it hits the national portal sites, which are all the sites that we all know about, just explain very quickly what you do, because we are very much a community estate agent as much as everybody else is as well. And we like to talk to our buyers. So just explain that a little bit before it goes to the rest of the world.
I think fundamentally what we've got to remember with this is that, as estate agents, we are acting for the seller. That is our job. And we've got to make sure that the seller is getting their investment back from what they're investing in us to sell their house. So I think as a buyer, you've got to remember that obviously we are out to get the best price for a seller. That is the job, unfortunately. But at the same time, we want to make sure that everybody walks away, I'm okay, you're okay. And so to do that, I'll be honest. So some of my colleagues in the office might disagree. I don't sell properties necessarily off market, not in this market anyway. But what I do think is important is given that I think we've got about 3,000 buyers-ish on our list at the moment that Sean is speaking to on a regular basis. So Sean is the one that's got the relationship with them. I don't want to let those buyers down by putting it out on the market without them seeing it first. However, I also don't want my clients, my sellers, should I say, to think that we are also trying to sell them short by selling it to the first person through the door. So the way I do it is quite simple. I put the property on the market on a Wednesday, and I will market it strictly. I will market it for 10 days and then do the viewings the following weekend. But what I will do on the Tuesday and the Monday is speak to the buyers on our list already. And there's a really good reason for that. Not only does it give the buyers an opportunity to get used to the property first, but it also gives us an opportunity to get feedback from the buyers about the property and about what they think about the price. Have we got that bit right? Have I missed anything out on the floor plan? Have I missed anything out on the photos? Is there something about the house that they don't understand? So what I would say to the sellers out there as well, yes, it is a good thing to speak to our buyers on our list first, but we do want to make sure that we are still getting the best price and making it work for everybody as well. So that's how I incorporate it, because I know that a lot of back in the day, I say that as if I've been doing this for 20 years. But when I first started, it was a case of, right, you got to buy through the door and you sold it as quickly as possible. But nowadays the market's changed. It's not like that. Everything's a guide price. You never really know a true valuation of a property until you've had 10 people through the door at least. So that's why we do it that way at the moment. But that doesn't mean to say we should be leaving our buyers list out as well.
Yeah. And I think social media is a big thing. At Campbell's, we do put our properties very often onto social media platforms before we put them live on the big portals, because we actually do want to support our local buyers. Simon?
Paul, a point on you've just said there on social media, again, for any potential sellers watching this, what Paul and Jamie are saying about social media, if you're a seller yourself, share the listing. So if it's Simon Gates estate agent selling a property, share that Simon Gates estate agent's listing on your Facebook page, because the average person has a sphere of influence of about 250 people. If they share that on Facebook, family and friends see it, they might comment, and you just get a compound effect. And then all of a sudden there might be someone out there who is contemplating moving. So when I bought the house I was in 2 years ago, no intention of moving, I just remortgaged 6 months earlier, but something came up which was perfect. So when actually I'm going to move, that property didn't go on any portals. It was through who you know and who knows you. So yeah, I'd say for the person actually selling, share the social media, share the listing on social media as well.
I don't know whether anyone's got any questions, by the way, while we're chatting away. I can see we've got quite a lot of people in the room, in the car. I can see from here. So if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm gonna ask Simon, because unless he feels that we could do it quickly now, whether we do it next week, obviously that you can, sellers, correct me if I'm wrong, can do their own homework by themselves. They don't have to get a local estate agent in at this point. If they're a little bit nervous, now if you've got friendly estate agents in your town that are like us, that genuinely will pop in on the way home from work, we're not bothered. We're absolutely passionate about what we do. As long as you're serious, we are passionate to be serious. But if you're not quite there yet, correct me if I'm wrong, Simon, we haven't done it yet, but we are about to launch a little button on our website, which I understand is on quite a few websites around the area, where the customer can go and have a look at what is going on in their street. Now, is that something we can do in a few minutes, or do we need to do that next week? Or do we do a bit of both?
I'm quite happy for you to use mine again, Simon, if you like. I think we should show it.
Okay. So what you're saying is you're happy, Jamie, that everyone's going to know where you live.
Most people know where I live anyway, so I don't mind. I'm not going to give you the exact address. You can use the street, obviously, but if you want to come say hello and have a coffee, feel free.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got no enemies, as far as I'm aware.
So let's set the story up. Jamie and Lucy are, bless them, they're about to have a baby, right? So here's the story. They now need to move to a 4-bedroom and 5-bedroom property, or whatever their motivation for moving is. Jamie's sitting there, Lucy's sitting there. What do we do now? Oh, I don't want to bring out the local estate agents. I'm not really sure about them, all these little rumours and things, so I don't know what to do. However, you've heard that there's a link you can press. Simon, what happens when you press that link?
Well, let me share my screen and
You just do number 1 on the street, Simon. That's probably the best.
number 1, yeah.
Sorry to my neighbour who lives at number 1. But
okay, fantastic. So essentially, before I go into the actual address, for anyone watching this who's thinking of moving, you may be thinking about it for a few months before you actually want to engage with an estate agent. You're not wanting to sell there and then. You don't want to feel any unnecessary pressure, maybe. So perhaps you're not wanting to ring an estate agent. You don't want to go on their website and give phone numbers, email addresses and things like that. You just want to type in your address and see a bit more information so that you can sit back and go, right, let's have a chat over dinner and understand whereabouts it sits in the market and get some more information. Now, this isn't an instant valuation because you need to get professionals like Jamie and Paul and others up and down the country to come out and see you, because they can inspect the data and understand the local market conditions, buyer, seller demand. I mean, for Paul to say 30 viewers in one afternoon back to back, data doesn't know that. Okay, so it's always good to speak to agents who've got their fingers on the pulse. But if you just want to be sat in your home without having or needing to interact with an agent, you go onto something like this, and I'm sure Jamie and Paul maybe share this link up here in the post as an example, but you can see what the market's like for your home. So Jamie, what's the postcode?
you do NN11.
Yeah.
0GE.
0GE. And we're going to go with number 1, yeah?
Yeah, that'll do.
Fantastic. So you go and put your property address in, you confirm how many bedrooms it is, and you say that you're not a robot. And within a few seconds, you'll get a sort of mini overview of what's going on in the market for homes like that. Now, you'll notice that there was no data being taken there, like phone numbers, email addresses, or someone's name, like other tools might do. So that you can really look at what you want to without feeling pressured that the phone's going to ring in 2 minutes' time of someone saying, do you want a valuation? So you can see here how many bedrooms, what type of property it is, square footage, plot size, when it last sold. And then you've got information here. So there's 95 4-bed houses for sale in that area, of which 55 are currently under offer, which is around about 60%. Now, the interesting thing is you'll notice the asking prices range from £210,000 to £1 million. They could be very, very different 4-bed properties. It could be an absolute screamer at £1 million. It could be a £210,000 one, which hasn't been touched in 50 years. So really, you need to go and speak to the local estate agents where you are to get a better understanding. You can see here in that area some recent completed sales that have happened as well. So that, again, you can do your research. Now, at this point, if you'd like to know more about this, whether it was Campbell's or Simon Gates estate agents, there's a few different buttons where you could get in touch. So if you did actually want to speak to them on the phone, text, email, this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow morning, maybe you're thinking of selling, maybe you're thinking of letting, maybe you just want to remortgage, Jamie and Paul can give you some great information on remortgaging, or again, any agents up and down the country, you can do that. Or maybe you're 6 months away from moving and you're just curious. That's what you can do with it, basically. Has that covered it off, do you think, Paul or Jamie? Is there anything else I should go over there?
I think that's okay. Jamie, are you all right with that?
Yeah, I mean, I just to vouch for Simon and Homesearch on this one. This is the exact same tool that we use before we go out on valuations. You know, we don't. You know, it's not a Bible. We don't rely on it, but it helps us to help our clients to put a report together to help explain to them what their area is like, what house prices are doing. You know, it's a brilliant tool. You know, we use it professionally. I think it's great that Homesearch are offering it out to the public to allow people to get an idea before we go through the door.
Yeah.
Perhaps manage people's expectations as well, I think.
The most important thing at the moment about valuing these properties. Remember, estate agents, in my opinion, it's a personal opinion, we are not really valuers, we're marketeers. So at the moment, I was having this conversation with a lady yesterday. I said, look, it's pointless. We were talking about making an offer on this property, which is another bone of contention. What do you do? We'll do that another time. We offer a home buyer service, and we know how to buy houses successfully. But obviously, in this particular lunchtime session, we're talking about selling a property. But we were talking yesterday. Do you know what? I've completely lost my thread, Jamie. Where's my brain going? Can you tell? You can't, can you? What hell was I? Lost the plot completely, Jamie. What was I thinking? What's going on? Gone. It's completely gone.
It's hard when you're talking about a subject like this, because you could go off 100 different tangents if you wanted to. That's why that's why you just need to get somebody in front of you, because it's always different.
I've got it. I know what it is. Right.
Covered you long enough then. Well done.
Thank you very much, Jamie. What it is, it's the price guide bit. This bit we were talking about earlier on about people that don't know, they're procrastinating about placing their property on the market because they don't know what to do about the asking price. So I think if you're using a local estate agent or somebody that's got lots and lots of experience, the asking price is crucial. In our particular case, we use Homesearch for that purpose, so that we can see what the market is doing at the moment. And the guide price has got to be a price that makes somebody sit up and go, when they're doing their three strikes on a portal, on a mobile. We've studied this in cafes, by the way. 1, 2, 3. Your property needs to be in the top, well, hopefully the first strike. And we all know what people do. We've practiced it, we've watched it, and I'm sure you do the same. You look for properties that are the cheapest ones first. Not always. That's what I do anyway. And so when you place your property on the market, you've got to be very careful at the moment about your asking price. Me personally, I don't think it should be an asking price. It should be a guide price. But that is absolutely crucial. So there are some sellers out there at the moment, I know they are because Homesearch tells me they are, that have been on the market a lot longer than 6 weeks. And that will be because they've obviously either decided what the asking price, guide price is going to be, or the estate agent might not have as much knowledge as maybe they could have done if they were using the Homesearch. So I think if that's my last tip of the day, before we close, is please be careful. Do your research. Homesearch is a good tool to use, and I think we'll leave it at that. So next week we are going to be on the subject of. I think we're going to be on the subject of
neighbours.
Neighbours. You're quite right. Neighbours.
Neighbours, the programme. Your neighbours.
Yeah. And I think we're going to possibly build in a conversation about how to go and purchase a property at the moment. A bit of both. So I would like to personally thank Simon because he has taken the time up in his own lunch break to come and talk to us. So Simon, can I just say thank you very much to you? Is there anything else on Homesearch before you go that I think we've probably covered it, but Homesearch, www.homesearch.co.uk.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay. We'll put that link in the comments once we leave, and we'll also put the link in as to where you can go to find out what your market's doing at that time. So everybody in the UK can use it. Is that right, Simon?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Jamie, have you got anything else to say? Thank you very much. Jamie, by the way, by this time next week, May will have a extra member of his family. So for those of you that see Jamie locally, and he's got bags in his eyes, and he's not quite sure where he is. We all know what's been going on. But obviously, as you can tell by the surname, I'm also looking forward to it because it's my first grandchild. So if you do see any of us around, feel free to ask us what's been going on in the Campbell's family. Jamie, is there anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and obviously until such time as that happens, I'm still here, albeit working from home mostly to keep an eye on things. But if anyone's got any questions or anything from what they've seen today, or if they've got any mates that they think might have any questions or anything, just give us a call. We're more than happy to have a quick chat about it. There's no such thing as a stupid question when it comes to stuff like this.
Point. Right, guys, stay as they say. Keep out of that sun. Keep cool, and we will see you again. I think next week we're probably going to do it more at tea time, but we'll see you next Thursday. Simon, thank you again so much. Very much appreciated. Jamie, if you could exit the live broadcast, that would be very much appreciated. Have the rest of a nice day.
Just double checking.
It's done. That was wicked.
Enjoyed that.